and fraud. Insofar as that's concerned, the issue has been dealt with quite extensively before the Commission. The people that were behind the formulation of those charges, who form part of the NPA officials, they've been asked to agree and have in fact been afforded the opportunity to provide summaries, but have been told, pursuant to an instruction given by yourself, Mr. Chairperson, that they will, no final decision will be made against them or findings will be made against them. That being the case, I think that insofar as Brigadier Kaba is concerned, that it would be pointless trying to cross-examine him on issues that relate to to people that were above him. And when I say above him, the people who made the decisions, they were in different departments, as it were. And then there's the one issue that I will pursue with him, and that is the issue relating to an allegation made by by Major General Boyson, who questioned the reason as to why he had been appointed, or his unit had been appointed to deal with some of the investigations, because they didn't typically fall within the parameters or the province of his unit, and that's the crimes against the state. So I'd ask him questions relating to that.
Okay, no, that's all right. You understand what Mr. Halley has just said, Brigadier?
Yes, Chairperson.
If he has said that there are issues that he will not ask you questions on, if you feel that one or more of the matters that he is not intending to cover are matters where you would like to put your side of the story, do indicate, and then I can give you a chance to deal with that. You understand?
I understand, Chairperson.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, all right. Let's do the oath now, or affirmation.
Please state your full names for the record.
Yes.
Please state your full names for the record.
I am Nyameko Kaba.
Do you have any objection to taking the prescribed oath?
No objection.
Do you consider the oath binding on your conscience?
That is correct.
Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brigadier Kaba, if you could turn with me to a bundle which is marked LEA 9. You have the bundle, sir?
Yes, I do have the bundles.
Could you turn to page 6 of that bundle?
Page 6. Yes.
And if you could hold that page open and turn with me to page 34 of the same bundle.
Page 34.
Pardon me, my
apologies.
It's page 24, my sincere apologies.
Yes, page 24, yes.
Now, there's a signature on that page above the word deponent. Is that your signature?
That is correct,
And
Chairperson.
is this document your affidavit?
That is my affidavit.
Thank you very much. And do you swear that do you confirm that the contents of this affidavit are true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, this is part of the old series, but I would ask that you mark this as Exhibit Y9.1. Or if you have it admitted as Exhibit Y9.1.
The affidavit of Mr. Nyameko Klaba, which starts at page 6 of bundle LEA9, is admitted and will be marked as exhibit. What exhibit?
Y9.1.
Y9.1.
And it includes annexures,
Together
Mr.
with
Chair.
its annexures.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all right.
Now, Brigadier Kaba, if I understand correctly, some of the allegations that have been made against you, specifically by Major General Boyson, relate to the work that was performed by the unit within the DPCI of which you are a part. Is that correct? Is that your understanding as well?
That is correct.
Now, just to be specific, the DPCI is the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations, which is commonly referred to as the Hawks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
When did you join this unit? The DPCI, that is.
I joined the unit, actually the DPCI joined the DPCI in 2009.
And you were a member of the unit, or you were the head of the unit, Crimes Against the State, is that correct?
Yes, from 2011.
Now, just explain to us very briefly the various components and how each of these components fit together and how you fit into that structure within the DPCI.
The DPCI by that time was having a structure that is not the same like now. We're having a structure from 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. But now we've got a new structure. But now I'm going to deal with the structure of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. According to the DPCI structure, at the head there, the top, we were having the national head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation. Under the national head, we were having another layer of the component heads. I don't want to put the Deputy National Head because the Deputy National Head is dealing with administrative issues. I want only to confine myself on the operational issues.
Sure.
From the national head, we're having 5 components. The first one was serious organized crime. The second one was priority crime center. The third one was serious corruption.
Anti-corruption.
The fourth one, hello?
I think you meant serious anti-corruption.
The fourth one was serious commercial. Yes. And then the fifth one was Priority Crime Management Center.
I think you've left one out. You've mentioned Priority Crimes Management Center twice. I think you meant the financial asset forfeiture investigations, is that correct?
Yes, yes, we call it FAFI by that time, yes.
Very well. And then below, within each component, there were different sections, is that correct?
That is correct. I will just deal only with the different sections under serious organized crime where actually I'm working.
So the crimes against the state was one of the sections under that component. Is that right?
Under serious organized crime.
And what were the others?
We're having operations, another one, policy standards and procedures.
Very well. Now, when we speak about serious organized crime, what do we, within the DPCI language, of course, what do we mean by serious organized crime? I would imagine in the first place that it's got to be serious, and in the second that it's got to be organized crime. Is that correct?
Yes, before actually it was organized crime that time, but now it's serious organized crime.
Well, at the time, and we're talking now specifically in the period of 2016, which is the period to which these allegations against you relate, was it called serious organized crime at the time, or was it simply called organized crime?
It was serious organized crime.
Now, could you just give us a brief indication of what was meant and what were the type of investigations that would be conducted under serious organized crime?
Just to, just to give a background, the DPCI actually was established through Section 17 of the Police Act, whereby our functions are clearly defined. I will just go straight to Section 17D, whereby they are telling us what are the functions of DPCI. According to that Section 17D, that 17D talks about the national priority offenses that must be investigated by the DPCI. The section also gives the national head a discretion or that prerogative to decide which cases must be investigated by the DPCI. Although in Section 17B, they are saying we will be dealing with national priority offenses, in particular, serious organized crime, serious commercial and serious corruption. But that Act 17D is explaining more what actually the core functions of the DPCI, whereby they say we will be investigating national priority offenses, which at the discretion of the national head will be assigned to a relevant component or section to deal with those crimes. And when I'm talking about the crimes against the state now, not the whole mandate of the DPCI, we as crimes against the state, we investigate any criminal conduct that impacts into the security of the Republic of South Africa and its territorial integrity, including national priority offenses. That is why I want to go straight to our mandate, because the issue here, according to the people who are implicating me or the office I'm working from, they are saying we're not supposed to investigate the cases that we have investigated, of which I don't agree with them.
And I appreciate that. But I want to take it one step at a time, lest we eventually loses alignment with each other and we don't follow what you're saying. I'm worried about serious organized crime. I want to know, would it be fair to say that if we're talking about serious organized crime, that the crime must in the first instance be organized crime, and in the second instance must be serious organized crime? Would that be fair to say?
Yes, it should be like that, but if you check the CAT's mandate, it's saying the CAT's mandate is the exclusive mandate of the DPCI, irrespective of the complexity or triviality of the crime. It must be investigated by the Crimes Against the State, which means if that case is in the public interest, we must, irrespective of whether it's a minor or the perpetrator is someone who's known or not known, but if it is in that public space, we must investigate that case.
Well,
in terms of the national priority offense definition.
are you, and lest I misunderstand you, are you suggesting that as the CATS unit or the CATS section, you've got to investigate even crimes that the police, ordinary police officers within the broader South African Police Service are required to investigate as well?
No, it's not like that. It depends. As I said, we look at the priority of the case. As I said, national priority offense.
Yes.
That actually is in the public interest, as well as the position of trust of those people who are involved, irrespective of the complexity of the case.
So the complexity of the case is irrelevant. If it involves somebody who is regarded as high priority, then that would warrant an investigation into the person. Or warrant an investigation by the CATS unit section into that person. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I say, we look at the case and then we check actually the case, how it fits in the society.
Maybe it's going to speed things up, maybe, Mr. Halley, if you let him, you tell him what the evidence is against him that was given, and let's let him put up his version and see whether the issue about whether it falls within the mandate or not at a factual level comes up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now,
Because
Mr.
the main purpose of today is to let him put his side of the story.
Indeed. You'll recall, of course, that one of the people who implicated you was Major General Boyson.
That is correct.
And he says, now you'll also recall that Major General Boyson was himself a member of the Hawks. Is that correct?
He was.
Now, as a member of the Hawks, I would imagine that he's familiar with the mandate of the CATS unit, and he's familiar with the mandate, the broader mandate of the Hawks. Would that be fair to say?
I don't know that one. I can't answer for him or think for him if he's aware of the mandate for CATS.
Well, he says...
Because the CATS by that, and then the CATS by that time was at the national level, not in the provinces.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Or rather, Major General Boyson says the following of your investigation. He says he finds it unusual that a brigadier who's in charge of the Hawks, crimes against the state, would involve himself with a complaint from SARS. He's now talking about the Flock Symington investigation and the larger SARS investigation. and the commissioning of statements of Ms. Jiba in civil litigation against me. So what he's saying is that in his understanding of the type of work that you would be doing, he finds it rather surprising, shocking perhaps, that you would be involved in an investigation relating to SARS or any of the other investigations that you were involved in, that you've specifically been implicated in.
Thank you very much, Sir. That accusation by General Gossen that we were involved in the investigation of SARS, I want to prove that the way he thought is not the way we also thought about the case. The case of SARS, when it was opened by the SARS Commission. And then that case, it was having various charges or counts on that charge or the case, whereby there was espionage, money laundering, racketeering, contravention of intelligence legislation, including corruption. That case, with no doubt, falls under our mandate. I fail to understand to say we were not supposed to attend to that case. And secondly, we as the CATS or the DPCI, we don't choose who is the complainant, who is the suspect. We treat people equally. What we do, we only investigate. After we are done with the investigation, we take the docket to NPA to decide. Furthermore, if we investigate, we request the prosecutor to assist in the investigation. I mean to say by means of guiding the prosecution. But that case of SARS, it falls within, or it fell within our mandates.
Now, just to get back to the mandate, if we might, the crimes against the state would presumably include an investigation into crimes such as terrorism. Would that be correct?
Yes, in terms of, there is another act, actually, that we actually deal with all the contraventions that in that act. We call it POCDATARA, Prevention of Constitutional Democracy Against Terrorists and Terrorism Activities. If we can underline terrorism and associated activities, it goes away from the word terrorism, that POCDATARA. So if they don't understand the terrorism and the POCDATARA, I don't understand why now they are implicating my unit.
Sorry, but what is it that they should understand about those acts?
They must understand what is meant by the POCDATARA. As I've alluded earlier, that we investigate any criminal conduct that impacts to the security of this country. And then we are also using other acts, including the protection of constitutional democracy against terrorists and other associated activities. Not per se terrorism.
Now, getting specifically, or coming specifically to the investigation against Mr. Kuba, Mr. Sissoko, and Mr. McBride, what are the charges there? What charges, what crime or alleged crime were you investigating?
The charges there were fraud and defeating the ends of justice.
And how did that fall within your mandate?
The way the docket was channeled to us, I went through the docket and I could see the docket falls within our mandate. Why I'm saying that? It emanated from that case of Zimbabwe rendition case. Should that case that was investigated by IPIT, I want to say the people who were involved or who were suspect were not the DPCI members or SABC members, would have taken that docket. But since all the acts that are actually wrong, that are committed by the SABC are investigated by IPIT, it was investigated by IPIT. But that case, as I said earlier, it emanates. No one could investigate that case other than us. And the referral of that case was referred to the national head by the minister. And then the national head wouldn't take that case back to the station level and look at the people who were being investigated. They're in a position of trust.
Sorry, when you say that case, now remember you've just identified two different cases. There's the defeat in the ends of justice against the IPIT officials, and then you've spoken about the rendition case. Now, the rendition case doesn't involve the IPIT officials, although they were investigating that case. So, which case do you say clearly falls within your mandate of the two?
The fraud and the defeating, as I said, it emanates from the rendition case. The rendition case that was going to be investigated by us, if the people who were involved there were not the SABC members. If the people who were involved in rendition were not the SABC members, we were going to investigate that case. And then now, this one of fraud and defeating, it emanates from that rendition case. That is why it was referred to our office for investigation. I see nothing that was sinister for taking that case and investigate. And further, if you are given a task by the national head through the proper channels, you have to comply in the South African Police Service. My core function is to investigate any alleged offense in South Africa in terms of the Constitution. So if I'm given now a task by my superior, in the police service, we don't defy the instructions. As long as they are lawful, we have to comply. I complied, and I've seen that the case was in the right unit to be investigated. It would be a gross insubordination if you can say to your general, I can't investigate this case because it is not my mandate. We don't work like that.
Yes. Were you investigating the
general
rendition?
policy knows that.
Pardon me. Sorry, you finished?
No, I didn't investigate the rendition, but Mr. Kuba said I was complicit to that investigation, of which I deny that.
Sorry, let me repeat my question because I'm not sure, I think we were speaking over each other. Were you investigating the rendition matter as well?
No.
So I'm just struggling to understand. I understand your point that the allegations of fraud and the allegations of defeating the ends of justice arose out of the rendition matter. But if you want to investigate in the rendition matter, I don't understand why you were responsible to investigate the defeating the ends of justice and the fraud case.
I said the fraud and defeating emanates from the rendition case that would have been investigated by us if the people who were involved were not SABC members. And then two, the IPIT members who were involved in that rendition case cannot investigate themselves. Who must investigate IPIT?
Well, you're saying we're not SAPS members, SAPS members.
Yes, when I say SAPS, I mean SAPS members.
Now, and the instruction to conduct the investigation, if I understand correctly. Sorry, sorry, Brigadier. You wanted to say something?
No, I was asking if I'm audible.
You
because
are.
there was that pause. I don't know what happened.
The instruction to conduct the investigation against the IPID officials, if I understand correctly, that came from the national head of the DPCI. We're referring to Lieutenant General Bernard Ntlameza, is that correct?
That's correct. It came from him through proper channels until it reaches the component head where I received the docket.
But if I understand correctly, you accept that the docket fell within your mandate.
Yes, I perused it and I could say, oh, this one emanates from the rendition case. It falls within my mandate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those are the questions.
You are done.
We're done as far as that's concerned.
As far as...
Well, the other questions we're not going to
pursue. Are the ones we are not covering. Okay. Brigadier, are there matters that Mr. Halley hasn't canvassed with you where allegations were made against you that you wish to deal with, or you are happy to leave things where they are?
I want to understand to deal with them how.
Well, in terms of putting your version or responding, or if Mr. Halley says he's done, you are happy to say you can go home.
I think from my side, I'm done.
You are done. Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you don't go away complaining that you were not given a chance to deal with certain allegations. So that's why I was asking you. Okay.
Yes, Chairperson. What I want to highlight, but I'm repeating what I'm saying.
Well, don't repeat what you have already said. Yeah. Don't repeat what you have already said. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. You are therefore excused, Brigadier. Thank you for availing yourself. You are now excused.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Halley, so that's where we end for today.
That's as far as today takes us for the purpose of Brigadier Kaba.
Yes.
There are certain outstanding matters relating to Friday's, to the summaries that were to be provided on Friday that relates to the NPA officials.
Yes.
I've spoken with Mr. Matabedi, who appears on behalf of the NPA officials.
Yeah.
And there's the question of an application that has been brought, and Mr. Ford appears for Mr. Innocent Kuba and Mr. Matthew Sissoko. But briefly, insofar as Friday's proceedings were concerned, the understanding of Mr. Matabedi, who's the counsel who appears for the NPA officials, was that a summary would be provided and that he would read out the summary all on Friday. I've transmitted to him that your understanding might have been different.
He says his understanding was that they would present the summaries in terms of in an open hearing on Friday.
On Friday, the summaries would be presented and they would read it out at the same time.
Yeah, well, we might not all have, maybe I didn't clarify everything because I wanted to see the summaries beforehand, but maybe because we dealt with this matter over 2 days, there was the day when he was here, then there was the day when he was not here, but there was, I think, an attorney when Ms. Wenzel was also there. So it may well be that I'm the one who has got his facts wrong. But if the understanding from their side too is that they would present the they would make the presentation, they would deliver the written submissions, the summaries on Friday, and make their presentation in an open hearing on the same day, then we can work on that basis. Now, I guess the understanding could only have been that in that case, the oral presentation would happen in the afternoon, which is the time when I think Mr. Pretorius was supposed to cross-examine Mr. McBride.
That is, so he was set on for the afternoon.
Because I think in the morning, in terms of the schedule, we are meant to have another witness on Friday.
Off the top of my head, I can't recall, but I would imagine that is the case.
Yeah, no, I do know, and that's the witness we have been looking at in terms of what's going to happen. Okay, all right.
But perhaps
What they
Mr.
should
Matabedi
do-
is present, and perhaps he should be the one to convey what his
Oh,
understanding is.
I
rather
didn't
than
know
for
he's
me.
here. Okay, let him do that. He can come to the podium, or if his mic is working, but maybe he should come to the podium. Let him come to the podium.
Good day, Chairperson.
Good afternoon.
Chairperson, I was not present in the meeting that was held, but I spoke to members of the team who were present during that meeting.
Yes.
Their understanding is that there was no requirement that the summaries should be submitted tomorrow to the Chairperson.
You see, one is not young anymore, so sometimes one is reluctant to insist on what one believes one said, because you might just be shown to have forgotten. But my understanding until I think this afternoon was that the day that you would be coming to read out the summaries for your respective clients was Monday, 28. But that's sometime this week, I can't remember when, sometime this week, the summaries would be provided because they would help me decide how much time I would allocate. Because I think from your side, there was an indication that in case you don't finish on the first day, you might wish to have another day. Now, when I say from your side, it might not be you who said that, it might be whoever was here the other day. But, and I was indicating that I didn't think that we should go into a second day. So, but now I understand that both Mr. Halley and yourself, your understanding is that the presentation in an open hearing of the summaries was meant to be, is meant to be on Friday.
That's correct, Chairperson.
Now, I don't have a problem to allow that arrangement to stand. It's just that something else arose which sought to interfere with what I believed was the arrangement, and I wanted clarification as to what it is that has been arranged. So I don't mind us sticking to Friday for the purposes of the oral presentation of the summaries. But as things presently stand, you could only have begun with the oral presentations in the afternoon, because in the morning, because the afternoon, I think, is the time when you would have cross-examined Mr. McBride. But in the morning, in terms of the current schedule of the hearings, we do have another witness. Now, I'm checking now whether that was your understanding as well, that we would start in the afternoon.
Chairperson, in the last sitting, we indicated that we do not have a problem in coming to make the presentation in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, okay, no, that's fine.
If
no,
you
that's
could just be told the
what
time.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. Let's leave it on the basis that it could be in the afternoon, but because now I know that we are looking at using Friday, it might be possible to make some arrangements that might open up space in the morning as well. But it may well be that because you were asking for more time, it may well be that you would welcome the opportunity of only coming in the afternoon so that you use whatever time in the morning. I'm not sure. But you might say, look, by end of tomorrow we will be ready. So if you say morning Friday, we'll be fine.
Chairperson will appreciate coming on Friday in the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's leave it on the basis, therefore, that we'll start on Friday at 2 p.m. But in terms of receiving the summaries, I would be very happy if there is a chance that I could get them, even if it's in the morning on Friday. Just so that, because when you start, I would like to be able to say, look, this is the time that I think is reasonable to be used. But if I get them at 2 o'clock, it might make that difficult.
Chairperson, we'll try our level
We'll try your best.
To send them the latest, it should be 10 o'clock.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. No, let's leave it at that then. We will start at 2 o'clock, and you'll try and send them through latest 10 a.m. on Friday.
As it pleases the Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could interject, because
Yes.
there might be an application that is presently before you that might impact upon the arrangement that's been made.
It won't impact. I've looked at it.
As it pleases you, I just want to mention that there is such an
Yes.
application.
Yes. No. I think you are doing well to mention, but I did get a chance to have a look. I'll make a decision in terms of what should happen. Okay, all right.
Chairperson, forgive me for interrupting Mr. Halley. I am representing Mr. Sissoko. My name is Bart Ford.
Where are you speaking from? Oh, okay. Yes.
Forgive me for not having introduced myself to you at any point as yet,
Yes.
Mr. Chairperson.
Yes.
As I said, I'm instructed by the State Attorney
Yeah,
in the matter. The application is to, obviously, when the representations and the summaries are in
Yeah.
fact made available to you,
yeah,
that the same summaries be made available to us for purposes of considering whether or not we may seek an opportunity to respond thereto to the extent necessary.
I'm aware of the application. You should be given a decision tomorrow. It won't be necessary to have oral argument on it. Is that all right?
As the chairperson, please.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, we'll then adjourn for the day. Tomorrow, I think Mr. Grizzly will be testifying at some stage, would be cross-examined by Mr. Wakeford's legal representatives. I think there are other witnesses as well. So I'll just mention that for the benefit of the public.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll approach you in chambers, as it were, to speak about the time for Mr. Mzila's testimony as well.
Okay. We adjourn.
Thank you.